Let's see, let's just make sure that we are live.
Now live on Facebook.
Yay! All right.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the first really early morning edition of Hollywood Kitchen. I am not a great morning person, so I'm counting heavily on Lara to keep me afloat right now. Lara had this fantastic idea for ages, and all credit goes to you, to do a pre-code and pancake event at TCM Film Festival, which I thought was awesome. And so since we can't be together in person, all of us, for this, Lara decided we would do it on Zoom and Facebook, and I think this will be awesome. So we are going to make pancakes and talk about pre-code.
Yeah, and the film festival, I was thinking too. I mean, because of course we're right in the middle of the TCM Film Festival. So, you know, it's so funny, the history of the TCM Film Festival as it relates to pre-codes, because of course the running joke is that the pre-codes always sell out. You know, the pre-codes always sell out, and they're always in the smallest theater. You know, so they reschedule to them to the TBA spots, and then they sell out again, right? I mean, it happened with Double Harness, it happened with Bulldog Drummond. Yeah, and so that's sort of the joke of the TCM Fest, that the pre-codes always sell out twice.
Yeah, when they put I forget the name of it, when they put that Kay Francis pre-code at the last in-person TCM Fest in the Egyptian, I was like, finally, they're getting us. Finally, we're going to see Kay Francis at the Egyptian this time around.
Yeah, I mean, they put the Thin Man, I think, in the Egyptian. I think when they, you know, when they did show the Thin Man at the TCM Fest, I think it was at the Egyptian. Yeah, it's just funny that that's what always happens. But oh, and I wanted to remind people too that if you have HBO Max, will be doing a teleparty of the Thin Man afterward, and I'll put a link in the Facebook chat as well, just sort of telling you how to do it. It's a little bit complicated. We tried to do it a few days ago. You have to like press play, and then you have to press the link. But I thought that would be a fun way to engage people who are participating in the fest.
Absolutely. Weekend. And one thing I always gravitate to at the TCM Fest, I mean, it's always fun to see like Singing in the Rain, Wizard of Oz, stuff like that. But a lot of these little pre-codes, especially the smaller ones, never get a big screen presentation. Like a few years back when they showed, the Francis D one that was the opening night one. Oh, help me. Finishing School. Night movie? I think it was like Finishing School.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was on opening night. Yes, yes, I remember that. Oh, that was great.
That never gets shown, let alone on a giant screen. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do that. Forget all the other stuff. This I will have to do. You know.
Yes.
So because some of them, like there's some of them, like say some of the Harlow films, they're probably gonna get shown on a big screen. You know what I mean? At least here in LA. But something like Finishing School, not even in LA is that one going to crop up on a big screen experience. So I kind of tend to go, okay, I'm pretty spoiled. I live in a city where a lot of classics are on a big screen. What is never going to be, or typically not, you know, and that's always what I pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I tend to go, actually, you know, I wrote a blog post a while back about how people choose their movies at the fest. You know, and that there are some people who go that route, you know, who say, oh, I'm going to go see a movie that I will never have a chance to see on the big screen. And then other people go for the comfort movies, you know, like the ones that you've seen a million times, and that you can just sort of be with the community watching a movie that everybody loves and everybody knows all the words to, and, you know, that kind of thing. And I tend to be in the second camp, actually. I tend to be in the comfort movie camp, personally, you know, just because it's a festival experience. It's like a communal experience, and having everybody know these, and it says something also about the TCM audience that like everybody knows all the words to the Thin Man. You know, like one of my favorite TCM Fest memories is when it was, what movie was it? It was one of the William Powell Myrna Loy movies, and Ileana Douglas was introducing it, and she said, I have a trivia game for you, for everybody. How many movies did William Powell and Myrna Loy make together? And the entire audience yells out at the same time, 14! Like, and it was so, it's like, that's just a total TCM Fest experience. And then, um, somebody else told me that uh, watching Bullet, everybody claps for the car. It's like,
And you can't get those kind of experiences at home. I mean, granted, I'm so grateful they are doing the virtual stuff, but it's just not the same energy when you're all together in the room. And,
yeah.
one of my favorite TCM memories was I'd never seen The Apartment on a big screen. And one year I got out of the movie I left the movie right before The Apartment, and I ran like a maniac down Hollywood Boulevard in my high heels. And I was number like 631 or just something ridiculous like that, right?
Yeah.
And
For
I
the
thought,
apartment.
I just some super high astronomical number. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And I knowing I probably wouldn't get in, but I was just not giving up, right? And so one of the festival employees comes up and she's like, okay, the theater's full. You guys should probably just, make another choice. And I was like, no, not this time. I'm not. I'm just gonna wait. And she kind of looked at me like, someone's crazy. But then I kept waiting and waiting, and she comes up to me because she goes, hey, so are you by yourself? And I'm like, yeah, my friends picked another film for this slot. She goes, there's one seat left. You want it? I was like, yes. And so like I got the center seat in the center of the Chinese 1 second before Shirley MacLaine came out and introduced her. And I was like,
Wow.
oh yeah, it's a movie miracle.
Yay! Oh, that's wonderful.
It was like fate. Like I just would not give up. I was clinging to hope. And
Yeah, I know it's not a pre-code, and it's a little outside of our theme today, but The Apartment has been sort of one of my pandemic comfort movies. Like I watch it a lot, and it just for some reason it brings a lot of calm, during this time, and specifically that movie.
yeah, and I found that during the pandemic, I really resorted to watching a lot of movies I already know. Like I felt almost embarrassed at myself at the Oscars this year because I was like, I have seen so few of these movies. But then I kept thinking, I just want something where I know how it's going to end, where I
Yeah.
know what's going to happen. I don't know why, but that's like, I need the comfort of reassurance right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And
And honestly, the Thin Man is that for me. You know, there are two pre-codes, I think, at the festival this year. Her Man and the Thin Man. And I know we were talking about when we wanted to do this, and Her Man was at in California time. Her Man was on at 5:45 in the morning, and that was just way too early.
I
So
recorded it.
yeah, but then the Thin Man is on, and so I thought, well, I mean, come on, I mean, the Thin Man, everybody loves that, and that is really one of my comfort movies, just in general.
Oh yeah, I try to watch it every New Year's Eve. I'm not like a big New Year's Eve party person. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, I've usually like traveled for Christmas. I'm exhausted, there's a lot going on. And so a lot of times New Year's Eve, I just want to curl up in bed and watch The Thin Man.
yeah,
It's like the macaroni and cheese of, it's like this warm, cozy, comforting thing in the world, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um,
Um, but this pancake recipe that we're making today comes from, I don't actually. So I saw this and I was like, oh, Claudette Colbert's pancake recipe, but it looks like it's a pancake recipe that was maybe um, created created for like a publicity campaign for Imitation of Life or something.
mhm.
Um, but it's nice. It's good. And I think I messed up because I think I added the shortening to the cold ingredients, and but we'll see how it works out.
Well, it's funny because I went on I obviously I search all these classic Hollywood type of cookbooks that I have, but I also go to the digital media history,
Oh yeah, I love that stuff.
library online.
Yeah.
And when I looked up recipes for pancakes, there are a lot of promo stuff for Claudette Colbert and Imitation of Life. They really rode that pancake train all the way to the,
Yeah.
with that movie. So,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
I have a confession to make. Since it's so early, I'm just using a mix.
Yeah.
Episode, which we know we'll do, I will make the full Claudette Colbert pancake.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fine. This is just, this is fun.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, we were already thinking about next year, that we could maybe rent out the back room of Mel's or something and get a movie shown there, and everybody in their pajamas and eating pancakes. Oh, that was, yeah. So it's almost too much to think about being in person next year.
The other night when I was watching Grease 2, at the end when they're like all dancing around the pool and everything, I was like, that's what we need. We need to all link arms and sing, dance around the pool at the Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Jack Fields has already offered a choreograph. So we've got a choreographer.
You're good.
I'll do it at the Roosevelt and dance around the pool. And I would probably, when we are all together again, I'm probably going to cry so hard. They might as well get like Kleenex, as a corporate sponsor or something, because it's just going to be so emotional.
Kleenex is a corporate sponsor. Yeah.
Sponsored in part by Kleenex.
For certain movies, they show city lights. Kleenex could be a corporate sponsor.
A long time ago, I worked at HBO, and we had a film called Wit about Emma Thompson, or Emma Thompson starred in it, and her character's dying of cancer, and the whole movie is this gut-wrenching 2-hour thing.
Yeah.
And normally after the movies, we'd have like a big cocktail party or bash or whatever. They just had piles of Kleenex in the lobby and no after party after that. Okay. I was thinking, that was a good call.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. My computer is about to die, so I have to plug it in. Just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Sure. By the way, if any of you are watching, feel free to comment too and join the discussion. And Lara and I will happily discuss or answer questions about pre-code and our favorite TCM pre-codes and memories and our thoughts on different movies. So feel free to join the conversation.
Okay, I am back.
Okay.
Should we check the chat, see if there's anybody talking to us?
Yeah, do you want to check the chat?
Yeah. Okay, I'm checking.
I left my phone in the other room, unfortunately, but.
Okay, let's see. Oh, there it is. Who's talking to us? Hi, Carrie and Lara. Oh, okay. Danny. She loves the apartment, but doesn't bring me calm. Oh yeah. Well, wit. Let's see here, and I don't see any questions so far, but oh, Benjamin is watching from Germany. That's very nice. Hi, Benjamin.
Hey, Benjamin.
Yeah. So I know that this is an absolutely impossible question, but if you had to pick one pre-code that you love, which one would it be?
Gosh. Oh boy, that is so hard. I think I'm going to have to go with probably the most obvious choice there is, which is Babyface.
Oh yeah.
Because I first saw Babyface in college, right? And in school, you see all these classic movies in film school and stuff. And I always thought classic Hollywood was sort of this squeaky clean, thing. And because again, a lot of the stuff wasn't available back then that it is now. And then the first time I saw Babyface, I was like, hot damn, I can't believe this. And then when they found the extra scenes in it, it was even more like,
Yeah.
And one time, oh my God, okay, so like a year or so before the pandemic, UCLA Film and TV Archive, which I love with all my heart, they showed Babyface on the big screen on film. Of course, it was sold out. And every time Barbara slept with a new gentleman in that movie, the audience cheered. And by the end of the movie, it's like,
Yeah, the first time I saw Babyface was at the Castro.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, whenever it was that they discovered that when they found the new footage.
Yeah, Mike Vachon, I think, from the Library of Congress. God bless him. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever that was, they showed it at the Castro. The restored version, and wow, wow. Well, I mean, Barbara Stanwyck in the pre-codes, just in general.
Oh
I
God.
mean, have you seen Illicit?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think that movie is really, really interesting. I mean, it's not like the best movie in the world. Like it's one of those sort of ones that it seems like it just kind of went through the mill of the studio,
Factors.
but it's so interesting in its content, that she thinks that their relationship is going to suffer if they get married, that they won't have what they had, and that sexual chemistry is so, what do I want to say? It's just it's so there.
I
Yeah.
also love Barbara in The Miracle Woman.
I do too. I love that movie. I know a lot of people don't. Like I've heard a lot of people like, oh, The Miracle Woman, like what in the world is going on there? But I do too. I think I think she's so beautiful, for one thing. I mean, just sort of very natural. And yeah, and it's such an interesting story, the sort of Amy Semple McPherson type of thing.
Yeah, and also the scene in it where she just screams and yells at that. You can practically see the spit flying out of her face in the most beautiful
Yeah.
parts of it. And just it is so just go for broke, that performance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh, she was so out of this world. I mean, in everything she did. I mean, her career was so long, obviously, but as a young person, doing those movies, she could just, wow, she knocked you down.
And Ladies of Leisure. Oh,
Yes.
that's a good one
Yeah.
too. That's a good one too. And
yeah, that is a great one. Yeah, and I'm trying to think. What are some other ones? Oh, and Forbidden. That's the other one, right? Forbidden.
10 Cents a Dance.
10 Cents a Dance. Yeah, it's always like when I think of 10 Cents a Dance, I have this really beautiful original photo from 10 Cents a Dance. I think it's actually in storage, so I can't get it. But she just looks so young and lovely. But you can tell that these are in the days before she discovered Edith Head to dress her, because she's got these clothes. They're like clearly trying to figure out how to dress her body. And she's got this dress that kind of hangs down on her, and it's like, oh, yeah. But let's see. Stanwyck was always, somebody's talking. Stanwyck was always amazing. Yes. Oh, and of course, Night Nurse. Yes.
Oh, Night Nurse. Oh my God. I'm so lucky. But a long time ago, KJ Relf at UCLA Film Archive, she used to program Cinefamily, and she showed a 35mm print of Night Nurse there. And after the screening, I tracked her down, went up and personally thanked her, because I was like, I don't think people do that for programmers. And I was like, by golly, she deserves an in-person thank you, for doing that, because wow, was that good.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
my gosh, that was a good one.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a question. Benjamin is asking a question. He says, is there a certain costume from a pre-code movie you love and you would love to wear yourself? I'm going to defer to you on that one.
Oh, good Lord.
I mean, I have some ideas, but you're the clothes person, so.
I am a clothes horse. Pretty much anything Barbara wears in Babyface. I mean, it's just even the working class stuff I would take.
Yeah.
Or even, I love the Norma Shearer clothes in The Divorcee and in Strangers May Kiss. Those Adrienne gowns are just impeccable. So really anything in any movie.
Yeah. I also kind of like Jean Harlow's clothes in Redheaded Woman.
Oh
yeah. They're just kind of but and of course that famous line at the beginning, can you see through this? I'm afraid you can, miss. I'll wear
Or
it.
wear it.
Yeah.
She was a comedy genius. I don't think people often give her enough credit because, again, I've talked about this on Hollywood Kitchen so many times. I think some of the really gorgeous, sexy actors, the narrative was always, oh, they're so pretty, they're so sexy. And it's like, but there's so much more. Like Jean was hysterical, you know?
She was so funny.
He wasn't just a sex bomb.
Bill. Aw, Bill.
Mr. Legend. He was so funny in that movie. And oh my God, she's just redheaded woman. There is nothing better than seeing that on a giant screen at the Egyptian, which I'm so lucky to have gotten to do.
Yeah, I actually saw it twice. I saw it, I saw it, I guess at the Egyptian. Yeah, that was it. It was at the Egyptian, and then it was shown again, right? It was shown again in one of the TBA slots. And I went to both because I was like, yes. So yeah, I was just so happy the redheaded woman was at the fest.
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime the UCLA Film Archive has ever done a pre-code festival, those suckers sell out like in a nanosecond. It's one of those get your tickets now because they will go fast.
Yeah. Danny says that this recipe makes a lot of pancakes. So I'm probably not going to make this whole thing because I did the entire recipe.
Oh, God.
I mean, yeah, I didn't cut it in half or anything is what I mean. So yeah, I'm probably going to have some leftovers. Oops.
Pancakes, the problem with pancakes is they don't tend to like, I don't know, they don't tend to make as great of leftovers because they get all soggy and stuff in the fridge. But
yeah,
I am hoping maybe Danny Miller can have us to his house and we can shoot some episodes there post-pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Danny. I hope that would be possible because that sure would be fun.
Yeah.
He's got a nice big kitchen, big living room.
Oh, they're really, Danny's already made them, it sounds like. Danny, have you already made them? He says they're really good though.
Oh, good. Good. Awesome.
Yeah. So maybe do you want to start? Do you want to?
Yeah. Again, as I said, I'm so sorry to embarrassed to confess this, but I'm just doing a mix this morning. But in a future episode, I will do the whole thing. Tell us how you made these and everything that kind of went into it.
Oh, you mean the recipe?
Yeah, the recipe.
Yeah, it's really, really simple. Except I messed up and I put the shortening in the cold ingredients when I should have put them in the entire thing when it's supposed to be mixed together. But hopefully it won't make that much of a difference. We'll see. I mixed together the dry ingredients, the flour and the baking soda and the sugar. Actually, I need to put the sugar in. And the sugar. And then in a separate bowl, I mixed the milk, the eggs, and the shortening. I use butter because I don't have shortening. But Danny had said earlier that that they probably used vegetable shortening, which is probably true. Yeah, and so now I'm going to mix it all together. I'm going to add the sugar and mix it all together, and then put it on the pan. It's real simple. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to before we start cooking, I wanted to show everybody my red dust poster. So I made this. I got this. I don't know if anybody can see. It's a little bit dark in here. Sorry about that. But I just love this image of Jean Harlow and Mary Astor. Oh yeah. The sort of reversal of roles. Jean Harlow is this clean cut, she's playing a prostitute actually, of course, but this sort of clean cut beautiful looking person looking down at the wife, Mary Astor. Like, I love it. I think it's just such a cool image. Yeah. So, don't overmix. Claudette is quite clear on that front. Yes. Okay. Okay, let's do it. All right. All right. So I'm going to add the sugar before I forget. And yeah. This should be enough.
Got my hot plate all warmed up and I'm stirring up my mix.
Okay.
Well, it must not be too warmed up. It's not sizzling when I put water on it.
let's see here. Okay, 2 tablespoons of sugar, I think. There we go. Okay. And then we'll pour it in here and we'll see what happens. Oh boy. All right. Well. Okay. Don't overmix, right, Danny? Right, Claudette? So this was one of the recipes that I'm pretty sure Claudette Colbert didn't cook. Can you imagine Claudette Colbert in the kitchen? I can't.
No.
But you know.
We talked about this, Lara. I don't know if you caught the Louise Brooks episode, but Thomas Gladish, his wife recognized the Louise Brooks recipe, and it turned out it was directly lifted from a Fannie Farmer cookbook from like 1915.
Sorry, there's some noise outside. I couldn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
Oh, I don't know if you saw the Louise Brooks episode with Thomas Gladish, but his wife recognized that Louise Brooks recipe that we made.
Yeah.
And it was directly lifted like word for word from a Fannie Farmer cookbook in 1915.
Really?
Yeah, and so I was like, oh my gosh, mystery solved. So now we know
Mystery solved, yeah.
I guess the Paramount publicist just literally went through that cookbook and was like, okay, I'm just going to randomly assign different recipes to different people. And which, I mean, to me, at every episode, I always have people email me, hey, they didn't make this. And I'm like, well, even if they didn't, it was attributed to them, and it's a fun way to talk about them. So I'm just going to go with it, darn it.
No, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean. Okay. Pancakes on the griddle. I've never made them off my hot plate before, so I'm going to see how this works out. Fingers crossed. I've gotten so much use out of this hot plate. I love it because it's a great way for me to do the show. I couldn't do it just putting a computer above my stove. And everybody watching, feel free to tell us what pre-codes you love, if there's pre-codes you want to talk about. And this is one of Lara and I's favorite topics. So please keep the conversation going.
But yeah, they had I was skeptical. Danny says, I was skeptical of the don't worry about the lumps, they will magically disappear, but they really do, he says. Yeah, that was one of my favorite lines. It says in the recipe, don't try to beat out all the lumps. They will mysteriously disappear during baking. And
by the way, I'll post this recipe to HollywoodKitchenShow.com, so that way if you want to see the recipe from Claudette Colbert or attributed to her and read more about the article, you can do so.
Wow, this really is going to make a lot of pancakes.
That's the trouble. I've had a lot of these recipes, I swear they feed an army. So I've had to really either freeze stuff or try to give it away,
Yeah. Okay. Better than the modern buttermilk pancake recipe. Okay. Oh, Mindy says, gorgeous poster. Thank you. Yes, I really like it. I was really happy to have found it. Somebody, Anna Rowland says, I'll never forget it. San Francisco Sound Film Festival, and Carrie made a spontaneous audible sigh with an arresting, beautiful image of a draped pearl necklace. Can't remember the name of the film. Do you remember?
Oh gosh, there could be a lot of films I did that in.
Oh, Danny asked me best Marion pre-code. Oh, Blondie of the Follies, absolutely, 100% Blondie of the Follies. 5 and 10 is also pretty good. I enjoy 5 and 10, but Blondie is special. Yeah, and it was really one of the few times. Well, actually, both 5 and 10 and Blondie of the Follies. Marion was able to play a really nice 3-dimensional character, and she's so good, at doing that. It's just such a shame that she was not able to do it more often, really show her range as an actress, because she did have a range as an actress.
And when is your book coming out? Because I am so excited about it, and I'm plugging the daylights out of it already on the
Thank you.
cemetery tour.
August of 2022.
Okay.
So fall of 2022.
Because
Yeah.
what I do with the Arbuckle book, because people always have so many questions about that case and everything, the Greg
Yeah.
Merritt book, I have a whole sheet in my binder with just the cover of that book, and people are always taking pictures and saying they're going to order it. So I want to have a whole cover of your book in my binder, so I can be like, hey, Captain of My Soul, Marion Davies by Lara Gabrielle, order this.
Thank you.
I'm serious, because people have questions about her. She's so underappreciated, so misunderstood, and anything I can do to help set the record straight by plugging your
it's much appreciated. She was a woman ahead of her time in many ways. I've just had so much fun in these past eight years. It's taken me 8 years to write this book. It'll be starting on year 9 in November. So just in these 8 years she's just a joy. I mean, every single moment that I have spent, even the difficult moments, even like when I'm stressing out about photos, when I'm stressing out about, I have to verify this weird piece of information that I can't figure out. And, it's just, it's fun. And yeah.
And then when the book comes out, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, I hit the jackpot with her as a subject. I could not have picked anybody better.
Well, I think that even when the book comes out, your journey's still going to continue, because you're probably going to do so many book signings and Q&As and screenings, and you'll still have her in your life, forever, really.
I hope that because it's coming out, and these look amazing. I'm hopeful that because it's 2022 and not 2021, that the pandemic will be, more or less over, and I can have a more or less normal book tour and, all of that.
Well, you deserve that. I mean, it's just so frustrating to see in the pandemic people that have these big events in their lives come up, and they don't get to have what you would consider a normal way to enjoy those events, whatever they may be, and you deserve a book tour and retrospectives and signings, and you've worked so hard for so long that you need to have that as part of your accomplishment. And I would love to do something, have something at the cemetery, have something at the Annenberg, Marion Davies guest house. And
they're wonderful there at the beach house.
Oh yeah, all the docents there have taken the cemetery tour, and they could not be nicer. And it would be fun. We could do Hollywood. There's a whole book tour you could do just in LA, quite frankly, of locations related to Marion. The beach house, the cemetery, the Egyptian, maybe, so many things,
Okay, so I guess that adding the shortening to the cold ingredients first, which was like a dumb idea, it actually turned out okay. The pancakes, all of the lumps, flour lumps or shortening lumps, they all disappeared. They all mysteriously disappeared. So let me.
Mind if I eat mine on camera?
Wait, hold on one second. I'm gonna find something here. Okay, so here's what we've got here. Oh, can you see? I don't know if you can see. Pancakes. They look really good. I'll try them.
Excellent.
You're supposed to add the melted shortening to the buttermilk egg. Oh, so I did it right. Right, Danny? Did I do it right? Yeah, it's good. Really good.
Another pre-code star that we haven't talked about yet this morning, and I'd love to, is Marlena Dietrich.
Oh yeah,
Oh my God.
of course. Always up for talking about Marlena.
Same. And just, I absolutely love Shanghai Express. That movie is just such an artistic masterpiece. All the films she made with Von Sternberg really are. They're like high art, and they're beautiful to look at. And there's something so enigmatic and mysterious about her. And it's fun. Before the pandemic, Kimberly did a fashion talk, and then they screened Shanghai Express at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica. And the scene where Marlena Dietrich goes into the train car and her hand's shaking and she smokes and looks up, the whole audience just started cheering in that scene. And it was another one of those moments where you're like, I am with my people. Oh yes, I am with my people. And just the power of that image, the power of that moment. And wow, I mean, it's just spectacular.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
go on.
What? No. I mean, I was going to say, of course, Morocco.
Mm.
With the gay kiss. Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
I love Morocco. And,
yeah. And Marlena was such a pro, not only with her acting, but also she knew all of these tricks to, of course, with the lighting and the, what you do to look your best. Yeah, I was watching a documentary the other night about Shirley MacLaine, and Shirley MacLaine said that Marlena Dietrich taught her to drape a gold necklace from one side of your ear to the other side of your ear, and it helps to like align your face, like it helps to sort of keep your face up. And it's like, how did she even know that? Like, how did she even figure that out?
I'm guessing
she's just brilliant.
She might have just looked in the mirror and like experimented with what would, because like I've read the daughter's book by Maria Riva, and based on what I've read, she was a full-on collaborator in every department. Like the work she did with Travis Banton, she didn't just go in for a fitting. Like she went in for this is what I think I should wear. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is the kind of feathers I want. Like they really had a full-on collaboration in terms of what she wore and how she controlled her image on screen. And I read one quote saying it elongates your legs if you wear a cream colored or pale colored shoe. And if you wear a darker shoe, it doesn't, it kind of cuts you off a bit. And I read that quote and I thought, that's weird. But then I looked at pictures and then I thought, oh wow, she's actually right about that, because she was so famous.
Yeah, because that makes sense, because it draws your eye down instead of stopping your eye at the dark color.
Yeah, and I think she might have I wouldn't put it past her to have just gotten all this stuff and stood in front of a mirror all day and experimented with what worked, what didn't work, and prepared in terms of her image. Like she didn't just throw something together. She's like, okay, this captures the light, this doesn't. This elongates my legs, this doesn't. Like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of that is the result of such careful experimentation, trial and error, and really putting a tremendous amount of thought into how she was going to present herself.
Yeah, Benjamin says that he thinks that she learned a lot from the Berlin cabaret scene, which that makes sense to me. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm a big Dolly Parton fan, and I've read that she used to look like the town prostitute, and how she dressed all the bright colors and the rides or whatever. And yeah, I think sometimes when you see someone that kind of, or something that kind of captures your attention very early on as a little girl, that is very powerful. That makes perfect sense, Benjamin. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Berlin was so like Weimar era Berlin was just this wild, lavish, decadent place. So for
Oh,
her to
yeah.
come up in that environment makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, between Germany between the wars
Hmm.
was a really fascinating place.
Mm.
Hmm. Charles, Danny and Charles are eating their pancakes now, and the verdict is
Mm.
Oh, new person on. Hello, Christopher.
And I tend to also like some of the pre-codes that maybe aren't as full of huge stars, but that are still kind of under the radar. A few years back at UCLA Archive, they showed a pre-code called Nice Women from Universal. I've never forgotten it. It was, I can't think of any major stars that were in it, but it is off the top of my head, but it was so much fun. It's about a family, and this young girl falls in love with this boy, but the boy is just a working class boy and he doesn't have money, and they really want her to marry money. And they try to get her to do that. And the guy that they marry her to, or try to, if I recall, it's just she's not happy. She doesn't want to marry him. And then her kid, there's a scene in there where the kid brother is in the house and there's like all this liquor sitting around and he's like tasting the liquor. And then he leaves the room and he comes back in the rich prospective husband's room and he's like, oh, hey, you have a gun in your office. How cool. And the kid's running around with a gun. And I'm like, oh my God. It's so funny. And it's such a charming little pre-code gem. To my knowledge, I don't think it's on DVD or anything. And it's just one of those little kind of under the radar titles. And another interesting thing was before the pandemic, the UCLA Archive did a series called Down and Dirty in Gower Gulch. And it was about films made in the Gower Gulch area of Hollywood. And they showed a pre-code that was fascinating to me called False Faces. And it's based on a real life story about a surgeon who really had no medical really credentials that would claim he could like de-age women or do all this stuff. And he wound up killing people. And it was like based on an actual case that happened. And they showed several pre-codes in this whole Gower Gulch series. And you know what amazed me is they were extremely like poverty row, right? And they didn't look it. I even commented to one of the programmers, I go, did Adrian like lose a poker game and be forced to go down to poverty row and design gowns for these movies? Because seriously, you guys are touting this as poverty row. Those gowns ain't poverty. These sets are not poverty. These are nice.
Or he refused a project and was punished by.
Yeah, and Cedric Gibbons, I asked him, I go, did Cedric Gibbons get in gambling debt and have to moonlight on poverty? I'm serious. These films looked amazing. And one of the programmers said, well, they probably rented stuff from a bigger studio to make these. But False Faces, by the way, is on I think you can find that one on DVD. And also, I think the UCLA Archive has it on their website somewhere you can stream. But that's a really fascinating title for sure. And again, I love stuff that's kind of has roots in a true story.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions. Okay, so Krista first says, if we're talking pre-codes, has anyone talked about Kay Francis yet? No,
and we need to.
Let's talk about Kay Francis because I love Kay Francis.
Oh my God.
And no, you know, she's one of those people, you know, like everybody, I mean, people who talk about pre-codes talk about Barbara Stanwyck, they talk about Marlene Dietrich, they talk about, you know, these people who are sort of mainstays of the code era, but Kay Francis for some reason doesn't really get talked about very much.
She doesn't. I agree with you. And she's kind of, again, she's sort of comparatively under the radar.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I think she's fascinating. And one of my favorite things about Kay Francis, whenever I'm watching a Kay Francis movie, is to see just how tall she is and how they, you know, and how they work with that to make it seem like she's not. I mean, that's a fun thing to watch how they do that.
Oh yeah, and just recently, TCM ran Jewel Robbery, and oh God, what's the other one with William Powell where they're on the cruise ship and she's the dying heiress and he's the convict. Oh, why can't I remember that title?
Why can't I remember that?
One Way Passage. One Way Passage. Okay.
One Way Passage. Oh yeah, yeah, of course, yes.
They showed One Way Passage and Jewel Robbery, and oh my gosh, those are so. She and Powell had great chemistry. I don't think William Powell met a woman he did not have sizzling hot chemistry with.
Yeah, well, he's just charming, just so charming in general.
You'd have to be like a cigar store statue to not have chemistry with William Powell, I think. But they were so good together, and there's so much fun in those movies. They look like they had fun making them too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And she's so charming. Like
She's
really
so charming.
has this naughty streak. Like when you,
yeah, and I love her voice. Like I think her voice is so it's so distinctive for one thing. Yeah, and she had that little speech thing that you can hear sometimes, and
I hate when people make fun of that because that angers me. It's like people shouldn't make fun of someone that has a
and it was also sort of a signature of hers.
Yeah.
It's distinctive. Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm trying to remember the pre-code they showed with her and Joel McCrea, where she's like a kind of a call girl. I cannot remember the name of it, but I saw it at TCM Fest, and it was just the print was unbelievable on the big screen. It's early in the morning. I'm not remembering titles.
Yeah, and we're not 100% early in the morning, but
it's media.
Wait, hold on a sec. Okay, so somebody else, I'm seeing something else. Hold on. Oh, Danny again. Do you know of any pre-codes that were so out there that they hastened the strict adherence to the production code? I wondered if Alyssa played. Okay, so I wrote a blog post. I write blog posts a long time ago about the 3 Barbara Stanwyck pre-codes that I think are sort of the straws that broke the camel's back. Babyface, Illicit, and Forbidden. Those 3, of course, in Babyface, I don't know if anybody here has not seen Babyface, but she's a woman who sleeps her way to the top of big company. In Illicit, she is sleeping with her boyfriend and they don't want to get married, or she doesn't want them to get married. She thinks it'll ruin what they have. And in Forbidden, she has the baby of a politician, and it makes it look like the politician adopted the baby. It's a whole big thing. And I think after those 3, the production code was like, oh no, we can't have this. But but I think that those 3 Barbara Stanwyck pre-codes were a big factor in that. Can you think of any others?
Oh yeah. In fact, just the other day was the anniversary of the release of The Black Cat, directed by Edgar G. Ulmer with Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. And one aspect of pre-code we haven't really talked about yet is the violence, because it wasn't just sex, although that was a lot of it. But in Black Cat, it's a really dark, demented story, and it's, for the time, very violent. And there's a scene where Bela Lugosi strings a shirtless Boris Karloff up and starts to torture him. And there's like this satanic thing going on. There's like a lot of stuff. And I think that movie was another straw that broke the camel's back, because it was so boundary pushing at every single level. And again, for the time, I think it was so disturbing. It's so upsetting that, I think they hit the accelerator too hard to the floor. And I think that movie was definitely one that hastened the production code.
Yeah. Oh, another fave, Ladies They Talk About.
Oh my God, how could we forget that? Oh my God, I love that movie.
I love that movie.
Oh, I have not seen that one on a big screen yet, and that needs to be corrected ASAP
I
because
don't think I have either, actually. I don't think I've seen it on the big screen. I don't, have they ever shown it at the TCM Fest? Somebody will tell us, I'm sure.
I don't
But
think they have. To my off the top of my head, I don't think they
I
have.
don't think they have because I feel like I would have been there.
Oh, you and I both. We would have been in line together.
Yeah, yeah, if they had. So yeah, no, I think that that's just amazing.
I really honestly, I don't know what it says about me, but I definitely love women in prison movies. There's just something kind of fascinating about exploring that aspect. And there's just so many interesting stories that always come out of these films.
Yeah, yeah. And talk about Barbara Stanwyck and her element. I mean, not that she was not that she was a criminal or anything, but throwing her in this situation where she could be that really raw, um, Brooklyn, scrappy girl that she was. Um, yeah.
People often ask me sometimes, like, who's your favorite actress of old Hollywood? And to me, Barbara Stanwyck, I mean, not that I don't love all the others, because I do, but to me, I think Barbara had the greatest range. Like, she could play the most dirt poor, scrappy criminal in the world. She could play royalty. She could be super beautiful. She could be super plain. She could be rich. She could be poor. She could be I mean, she could fit into almost any genre, anything you put her in, and not everybody could do that, you
You know
know?
who else I think had a great range who doesn't get a lot of credit for her range is Carol Lombard.
That's
Um,
true as well. Yes.
yeah, because in the pre-codes that she made, she was really like, she was in like crime movies, in the pre-code era. And then of course she did her comedies and dramas. And I think that if she had lived, she would have been, I've said this before, but I think that she would have been a really great femme fatale in the film noir era.
Ooh, I never considered that possibility.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I think had she lived too, I think she would have gone into television like Lucille Ball, had her own sitcom and been like a television star. I could see that. Like the
yeah, and you know that Lucille Ball said that Carol Lombard came to her in a dream and told her to do I Love Lucy.
oh wow.
Because she didn't think that, she was considering, thinking about whether she wanted to do it or not. And then Carol came to her in a dream and said, do it.
I read the book Fireball about Carol
Mhm.
Lombard.
That's fabulous.
Even though I knew the outcome, obviously, I was reading the book and I was sitting in bed reading it and just sobbing. Just the way he brought her and everybody on that flight to life and the pages of that book, it just gutted me. That
Yeah.
is one of the best film history books I have read in such a long time. Oh,
Yeah.
that book was so
Yeah.
good.
Robert Mattson is a really good author. He did Fireball, and he also did Dutch Girl, the Audrey
I
Hepburn.
didn't get that one.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah, he's fabulous.
To me, yeah, Carol was that was a loss, not only as a human being, but to the film community and the film world. I mean, it just is such a loss because there's so much more she had to give us.
Yeah. Yeah, such a loss. I
You
mean,
know
yeah,
one
she's
movie,
gone on to have such a long career.
one movie that I love that's so weird, and I need to see it again because it's been a while, is Carol Lombard in Supernatural.
Oh yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
a bizarre movie, and apparently she really didn't enjoy making it. It just was kind of a mess of a movie, but
Yeah,
it's
very
so
strange.
it's so
I
strange, it's so unusual.
Yeah, I was on a Carol Lombard kick for a really long time. I had a goal to see her entire filmography, but I couldn't get through it because there were certain movies that you just can't get, So I ended up not actually getting through her entire filmography, but I got really close.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I love her as well, and such a
Yeah.
loss. Such a loss.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up HBO Max. Okay, I'm gonna pull up
Okay.
HBO Max and start getting ready for the teleparty. Okay, and I'm gonna explain to people how to do it because we had some issues trying to sort it out a while.
Probably my fault because honestly, I tend to have a little struggle with technology from time to time. So
yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the movie,
okay.
and I'm gonna pause it. We can maybe wait 5 minutes. My guess is that maybe let's start at like 9:05.
Okay.
Okay. We'll start at like 9:05. We'll press play. And what I'll do is I'm going to create a teleparty link. Okay, I'm going to create a teleparty link, and I'm going to put the link into the Facebook chat. All right, I'm going to put the link into the Facebook chat, and then what you do is you click on the link, and it'll bring you to the home screen of The Thin Man, and you press play. You press play first, then you click the little red icon that says TP teleparty, right? And it should bring you to the start of the movie. And so the way it works is that we watch it together, like we're all watching it at the same time, and you can chat on the on the right hand side. There's a chat feature, and you can type things, and you can talk as we're watching. So I think that that's really fun. I think it's a fun way for all of us to talk, to watch a movie together, really, and talk about the movie.
Yes, and I love that we're kind of finding ways to be together amidst this whole pandemic mess.
Yes. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to pause it. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Okay, so I'll pause it. And I'm creating a link right now, which I'm going to drop in the chat. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I see where we are. I'm gonna go like this. Lara's a technical genius, hardly. Okay.
Well, I just feel like anytime I figure out technology, they change up all the rules, and then I all of a sudden don't know it again.
The red TP icon. Okay. So you have to have HBO Max in order to join. But I think that most people watching here have HBO Max at this point because the festival is being.
And I just want to clear up some confusion. The movies on HBO Max, because like I had to work all day yesterday, they'll still be available for how long?
I don't know.
Some people said they end tonight, and then other people said it's all month. So
yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, I'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'll keep it there. So you can join us, and we will start the movie at 9:05. We'll give people 5 minutes to join. Yeah.
All right, and thank you for tuning in to this early for me morning of Hollywood Kitchen. And again, stay tuned. I've got so many new episodes in the works, so much more food, fun, and film history coming your way.
Thanks, everybody. This was really fun.
Yeah, I'm glad to do this again.
Let's do this. Yeah, let's do this in person next year.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, bye, everybody. See you on Teleparty.
Okay.